The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The apostles gathered together with Jesus and reported all that they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." People were coming and going in great numbers, and they had no opportunity even to eat. So they went off in the boat by themselves to a deserted place. People saw them leaving, and many came to know about it. They hastened there on foot from all the towns and arrived at the place before them. When he disembarked and saw the crowd, his heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning. So, my first question for all of you is, have you been out on the freeways lately? It's either whether you're on I-75 or I-40 or 26, there is just so many people. And they're all competing with space for all of the trucks that are out there as well. And they're all headed out to the beach, right? It's summertime. They're either going to the Atlantic shore and places like Myrtle Beach or Fort Lauderdale, Cocoa Beach, maybe Miami, or they're going down to the Gulf Coast, all the way down to Gulf Shores or maybe the Keys or Destin. But it's one of those things where there's just so many people that they turn the freeways that are supposed to be freeways into bumper-to-bumper traffic. And it always seems kind of funny to me when I look at that this time of year, that people are joining these huge crowds to go to a place for vacation where they can get away from it all. Just think of Orlando and Disney World, or maybe even Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg for that matter. And it puzzles me, this great summer puzzle every year, where thousands upon thousands of people join other thousands and thousands of people in an attempt to find a quiet and deserted place, a place to just get away from it all. Everyone is searching for some relaxation and some rest, a place to recharge. And all of us really have this need. A need for a new and a different place to look at for a few days, a place to rest our bones, and a place to refresh our weary spirits. And Jesus knew all about this human need. He gave us Sundays and said, rest. But he also knew that we would be constantly in search for rest. In today's gospel, he tells his apostles that they need to rest. Just a little bit of R&R. His apostles had just come back from a mission trip, going out 2 by 2 into the countryside to try and work with people and test their wings with all that they had been hearing from Jesus. And they were very excited when they returned. I can just imagine. Think of children coming back from summer camp and wanting to tell you everything that they had done and everything that they had seen. But Jesus also knew that they were very tired and they needed a little time off. Preaching and teaching and healing, they're very rewarding, but it's also hard work. This type of constant activity can be draining on each one of us. So he tells his apostles, come by yourselves, come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest for a little while. Now, like Paul Harvey says, we all know the rest of the story. Imagine yourself, you finally get to the beach, you've battled the crowds, you've gotten through all of the traffic. The beach chair is so comfortably set in the sand, an icy cold drink is in your hand, The sound of the waves on the sand sounds beautiful, the crying of the seagulls, and the ringing of the cell phone. What? You quickly fish out your phone. You see the caller ID flashed up there on the screen, and you know even before you read it, it's the office. And that's just part of our human condition. Mark tells us that despite Jesus' best intentions to provide a mini vacation for his apostles, despite all of his efforts, the crowds didn't know they were supposed to be on vacation, and they just showed up. And they wouldn't even allow Jesus and the apostles time to get a bite to eat. I guess in this part, whoever arranged this trip failed completely as a vacation planner. Taking his friends on a boat trip to a deserted spot had just failed. The crowds beat them there, arriving on foot ahead of them. I can imagine it might have been just like finally arriving at the beach and getting everything out of the trunk of the car, walking across the dune to get to the sand, and not being able to find a place that's even big enough to set down a blanket or a towel anywhere to sit on. Seeing just this big sea of people already there ahead of you. This act by the crowds touched Jesus' heart. Personally, I would have been devastated. They looked at him, or he looked at them with compassion and with pity, and they reminded him of sheep without a shepherd. So he forgot all about his vacation time and began to feed them with his words and his actions. And later on that same trip, he would feed them a big meal of loaves and fishes. I think this gospel really captures so much of our own humanity, the human need to occasionally just get away from it all, and at the same time, our need to respond to the demands put on us out of love, the demand of our commitments to one another. I heard that 23rd Psalm today, and it really spoke clearly to this need and the ability of only God Himself to supply it completely. In verdant pastures He gives me repose. Beside restful waters He leads me. He refreshes my soul. Sounds like a perfect vacation to me. The demands of our families and our school, the demands of our jobs, the trials and demands of love and marriage and relationships, these all require some time away, time in a deserted place. And every person should be alone sometime during the year, some part maybe of each week, optimally sometime or some part of time each and every day. Unless we keep some small part of the vacation life alive, we'll have little left to give our spouses, our children, friends, or those others in the world that we're called to serve. We need some uncommitted time in our lives, time to reflect, time to pray, and time to play. Today's gospel and psalm clearly tell us that. We need to rest in Him. We need to find time to be with Him. Today's gospel and psalms remind us that we need a little solitude. We need things so that we can continue to feed people on our words and in our service. We need time to be with the Eucharist, with the very presence of Jesus in our world, to let Him lead us to those verdant pastures and along quiet waters. If you're still planning your summer vacation, if you haven't got out with the crowds yet, make sure that you take some time for yourself to rest. Maybe find some time to rest with Jesus. maybe some time in quiet prayer. We need it. We don't always see it, but we need it.